You know those brands you used to see everywhere? Mall billboards, magazine ads, shopping bags swinging from every teenager's arm? Well, blink twice, because many of them are vanishing faster than a clearance rack on Black Friday. In 2025, some clothing brands are not just falling behind, they're falling off the map. And if you're still holding on to a hoodie or pair of jeans from one of these companies, congratulations. It might be considered vintage by next year. So buckle up, bargain hunters, because we're diving into the 10 clothing brands that are disappearing before our eyes. The once powerful names that failed to keep up and are now fading into retail history. Let's start with the giants that fell the hardest. Number 1. Sears, from retail royalty to retail ruins. If you grew up in America, chances are Sears was part of your childhood. Back in the day, they didn't just sell clothes, they sold your entire house out of a catalog. Need a washing machine? A car battery? A suit for prom? Sears had your back. But in 2025, Sears is more like a ghost of capitalism past. From over 3,500 stores in their prime to barely a few dozen now. Walking into a Sears today feels like stumbling into an abandoned museum exhibit. Flickering lights, empty shelves, aisles that echo with the sound of lost customers. What went wrong? Everything. They clung to the past while the world went digital. Amazon was reshaping retail, and Sears was still trying to push vacuums like it was 1997. Their e-commerce efforts were laughable, their stores outdated, and their prices, well, let's just say people weren't paying for nostalgia. After multiple bankruptcies, sell-offs, and last-ditch attempts at reinvention, Sears is now hanging by a thread. And unless you enjoy shopping next to a leaky roof under fluorescent lights from 1984, you probably haven't set foot in one for years. Number 2. Penney, the self-sabotage saga. Once the anchor of every respectable American mall, Penney was the go-to for back-to-school clothes, business casual, and home goods that didn't break the bank. But now, they're the poster child for corporate confusion. It all started with a bold, or should we say, baffling, decision in 2012. They got rid of sales and coupons. Yes, the two things their customers loved most. Instead, they offered everyday low prices that nobody asked for. Shoppers were confused, angry, gone. By the time they reversed course, it was too late. People had moved on. The brand spiraled, and by 2020, they were filing for bankruptcy with their value tanking below $100 million. Ouch. Today, Penney stores still exist, kind of, but they feel stuck in a time loop. Dim lights, outdated racks, clearance signs that look like they've been hanging since 2005. Despite attempts at a glow-up under new ownership, Penney still struggles to stay relevant in a world run by TikTok trends and Amazon Prime. Number 3. Reebok, from gym star to clearance bin. Believe it or not, Reebok used to dominate the athletic shoe game. In the 80s, they were hotter than Nike. Their white leather aerobic shoes were the accessory for fitness fanatics. By the mid-80s, they controlled over a third of the U.S. athletic shoe market. But fast forward to now, and Reebok is, well, trying to stay alive. How did it fall so far? A lethal mix of corporate apathy and strategic misfires. Nike signed top athletes and launched cutting-edge gear. Reebok? They coasted. When Adidas bought them in 2005, it looked like a power move. Instead, Reebok became the forgotten stepchild. While Adidas soared, Reebok collected dust. After years of irrelevance, Adidas dumped Reebok in 2021. New owners are trying to revive it. But let's be honest, in a market flooded with flashy newcomers and hype-driven sneaker culture, Reebok feels like a MySpace page in a TikTok world. Their sneakers still exist, sure, but they've gone from must-have to maybe if they're on sale. If they don't find a way to matter again, they're heading for the same fate as Blockbuster. Number 4. Abercrombie and Fitch, from nightclub vibes to retail ghost. Once upon a time, walking into an Abercrombie and Fitch store felt more like sneaking into an underage nightclub than shopping for clothes. Thumping bass, dim lighting, shirtless models spritzing cologne like it was air freshener. It was a whole vibe, and teenagers in the 2000s ate it up like free samples at Costco. But that vibe? It didn't age well. Abercrombie built its empire on exclusivity. The message was clear. If you didn't fit their image, you didn't belong. The brand's CEO literally said they only wanted cool, good-looking people wearing their clothes. That strategy worked until the world changed, and people started caring more about inclusion than exclusion. Customers started asking questions. Why were their sizes so limited? Why did the stores feel like sensory overload torture chambers? And why did their marketing look more like a dating app for frat boys than a fashion brand? Eventually, the backlash hit hard. Discrimination lawsuits, Supreme Court battles, viral takedowns. Abercrombie went from cool to cringe faster than you could say graphic tee. To their credit, they've tried to clean up their act. New logo, new vibe, less cologne. But the damage was already done. Teenagers moved on. And Gen Z? They're not buying what Abercrombie's selling, literally or metaphorically. The brand is still around, but now it's just another name in a crowded marketplace, desperately trying to prove it's evolved. Unfortunately, rebranding doesn't erase history, and for many shoppers, Abercrombie is a reminder of a time when fashion was mean, moody, and exclusionary. Number 5. American Apparel, ethics, ads, and a rapid implosion. American Apparel was once the darling of the hipster generation. Basics with an edge, sweatshop-free production, and ads that push boundaries like a rebellious art student. But pushing too hard in every direction eventually snapped the brand in half. The company proudly manufactured everything in Los Angeles, paying fair wages and touting its ethical high ground. But that nobility came at a cost. Literally, a plain cotton tee cost upwards of $20, while competitors were selling 5-packs for half that. And the ads? Let's just say they weren't exactly family-friendly. Provocative to the point of being banned in some cities, the campaigns alienated parents and made the brand a target of growing outrage. Combine overpriced basics, alienating marketing, and a leadership team drowning in controversy, including a scandal-prone CEO, and you get the recipe for not one, but 2 bankruptcies. By 2017, every single American Apparel store was shuttered. Today, the name survives as an online-only shadow of its former self, stripped of its made in the USA roots and its cultural relevance. Once a symbol of conscious cool, American Apparel is now just another URL on the discount rack of the internet. Number 6. Ed Hardy, the rise and fall of fashion's loudest brand. Remember Ed Hardy? If the early 2000s were a reality TV show, Ed Hardy was the uniform. Bedazzled skulls, neon tigers, tattoo-inspired chaos splashed across everything from hoodies to hats to cologne bottles. At its peak, you couldn't swing a faux gold chain in a mall without hitting a rhinestone-covered Ed Hardy tee. Celebs flaunted it, influencers flexed it. The brand raked in over $700 million at its height. Then, it imploded. Hard. Why? Overexposure. They licensed the brand to everything. Wine bottles, cell phone cases, even energy drinks. Ed Hardy went from edgy to embarrassing overnight. It became a meme before memes were even a thing. By 2010, it was fashion kryptonite. Comedians mocked it. TV shows used it as shorthand for bad taste. People who once wore it with pride were now denying they ever did. Today, Ed Hardy merch still exists, but mostly in discount bins and shady corner outlets. It's the fashion equivalent of an awkward high school photo. You don't throw it away, but you definitely don't frame it. The fall of Ed Hardy is a masterclass in what happens when you turn a fashion trend into a punchline. Spoiler alert, it doesn't end well. Brand 7, Cold Water Creek, the couch fabric wardrobe. That time forgot. Once upon a time, Coldwater Creek was the darling of suburban catalog shoppers, where elastic waistbands, pastel florals, and tunic tops ruled the kingdom. Think of it as the retail equivalent of your mom's favorite throw pillow, comfortable, familiar, and unchanging. At its peak, the brand raked in over $1 billion in sales and operated nearly 400 stores nationwide. Their customer base? Women over 50 who wanted comfort over couture. But here's the problem. They never evolved. While the rest of the retail world chased millennials with athleisure and TikTok ads, Coldwater Creek clung to their garden party meets sofa upholstery aesthetic like it was gospel. The 2008 recession didn't help. Older customers on fixed incomes cut spending, and younger shoppers had zero interest in a brand that screamed book club at 3 p.m., bed by 8. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2014, then again in 2020. Today, Coldwater Creek exists online and in a handful of stores that feel more like time capsules than shopping destinations. Their website? It looks like it was built with Windows 98, and honestly, for their remaining demographic, that might be just right. Brand 8, Diesel, premium denim no one asked for. Diesel was once the cool kid in class, the one who wore $300 jeans with rips, patches, and enough attitude to make a runway model sweat. They brought Italian flair to American closets with slogans like, "For successful living." But in 2025, wearing Diesel jeans is like blasting your MySpace playlist at full volume. Nostalgic, a little cringe, and completely out of sync. So, what went wrong? For starters, Diesel's pricing model made sense in boom times, but not during recessions or the rise of athleisure. While everyone else was slipping into leggings and joggers, Diesel doubled down on stiff, overpriced denim. Millennials and Gen Z weren't buying it, literally. By 2019, Diesel USA filed for bankruptcy. The brand tried everything: new stores, influencer collabs, capsule collections, but nothing could shake the perception that Diesel was out of touch and overpriced. In a world where consumers want comfort, sustainability, and value, Diesel was still trying to sell $400 jeans to kids saving for rent. Today, Diesel has more traction in Europe, but in the US, it's on life support. If you spot Diesel at a department store, it's probably in the clearance bin or haunting the rack next to Ed Hardy. Brand 9, Aeropostale, when teen cool becomes mall ghost. Remember Aeropostale? That teen brand with the oversized logos and hoodies that every middle schooler wore like a badge of honor. Back in the early 2000s, it was everywhere, from mall kiosks to back-to-school shopping sprees. But fast forward to 2025, and Aeropostale is more like Aeropost gone. At its peak, the brand operated over 1,000 stores. Today, barely 300, and even those are often tucked between shuttered Claire's stores and abandoned food courts. The reason? They refuse to evolve. As fashion moved toward minimalism and authenticity, Aeropostale kept screaming its name across every shirt like an insecure teen at prom. Teens stopped wanting obvious logos, and the brand became a parody of itself. Social media influencers replaced mall mannequins, and fast fashion chains like H&M and Shein devoured the younger demographic with lightning-fast trend cycles. Aeropostale, meanwhile, was still printing Aero in bold letters like it was 2006. Bankruptcy came in 2016, and although they were bailed out by mall operators terrified of empty anchor space, the brand has never truly recovered. Their comeback attempts feel like your uncle trying to use slang from 3 years ago, well-meaning, but painfully out of touch. Today, Aeropostale survives. But thriving? That ship sailed somewhere around the time skinny jeans went out of style. Number 10. True Religion. Designer denim's great disappearing act. Once upon a time, if your jeans didn't have a horseshoe stitched on the back pocket, were you even trying? True Religion wasn't just denim, it was a statement. A $250 ticket to the Look at Me Club, worn by celebs, wannabe influencers, and half the cast of every early 2000s reality show. If you saw someone walking down the street with rhinestones on their behind, odds are they were strutting in a pair of True Religions. The brand exploded in the 2000s when premium denim was the rage. Launched in 2002, True Religion quickly became the status symbol for people who wanted to flex without wearing a suit. Sales soared from $9 million to $370 million in just a few years, and at their peak, they had over 140 stores worldwide. But like all trends built on flash and stitched ego, the fall was brutal. Fashion shifted, athleisure took over, people traded bootcut bling for leggings and subtle streetwear. Meanwhile, True Religion clung to their flashy stitching like it was 2005 forever. Customers moved on, the brand didn't. They filed for bankruptcy, not once, but twice, in 2017 and 2020. Over 100 stores shuttered, and while they've tried to pivot with joggers, tees, and streetwear collabs, the brand still screams mid-2000s mall flex, not modern cool. True Religion is still around, but it feels more like a throwback than a comeback. They've gone from runways to clearance racks, and for a brand that once defined premium American denim, that's one rough fade. 10 brands, 10 cautionary tales. What do they all have in common? They stopped listening, stopped evolving. While the world moved on to sustainability, inclusivity, e-commerce, and speed, these brands stayed stuck in their glory days. But here's the thing about fashion. If you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. Fast. So next time you're shopping, ask yourself, are you buying into a legacy or just nostalgia wrapped in clearance tags? Let us know in the comments. Which of these brands did you used to love, and when did you stop? And, hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and join the Frugal Pro community for more insider reveals, smart shopping tips, and brutal brand truths. Until next time, shop smart, stay sharp, and never overpay for faded fame.